Alright, welcome to another episode. So, in the last episode, we were talking about this wonderful experiencing I'm currently having with Social Security. And we discussed how they're cutting off my SSI and how I now owe nearly $19,000. Which, in all reality, there was never any overpayment, and I've never been in violation except for how they're going to penalize me, even though they're not supposed to be. So, my tribal income is to supplement what Social Security gives me, because living on less than $1,000, or now getting just $1,000, it's not enough to live on. So the tribe gives me a stipend to supplement what Social Security gives me for SSI and disabled adult child. And underneath the rules for Social Security in their own circulars, their own policy, it states that they cannot count my tribal money as an asset, because it is also a federal program to ensure that I have the funds to be able to survive. Because anywhere you go in the United States right now, unless you're on Section 8 housing or something like that, to where they put you in a fixed income housing situation where you pay one dedicated amount per month or whatever it is, you're kind of screwed when it comes to housing unless you have somebody or know somebody that is going to work with you to be able to have a place to rent or buy or stay at a fair rate. Because everywhere around here in my area of Michigan, a one-bedroom studio apartment is going to cost you $1,500 minimum for rent, and that is just for your rent. Then you've got to factor in your electric, your gas, your water, your food, and everything else, which is going to put you at well over $2,000. But yet the government expects you to live on $2,000 or less. Before I started the business, I called and spoke with Social Security and with tax professionals prior to doing the business to ensure that I had all my bases covered and did everything in a good way, so I wouldn't have to deal with unnecessary drama. And even though I go by what I was told by Social Security and by the tax professionals, I am still dealing with unnecessary drama. Because as a single member limited liability corporation, I am the owner, but I am also the employee of my own business. And underneath their guidelines, they are not to count your business income against you unless you pay yourself. Meaning, if you make $500 in a month and your bills are $500 in a month, do you pay all your bills in full, or do you pay a portion of those bills and pay yourself a small portion out of what you get that month? I myself made an operating agreement with my business. My business will come first, meaning my bills will be paid in full every month, before I, as the business owner and employee of my business, will make any money. Meaning, I have not made anything for 2 years. Okay, I started the channel in 2019, just before the new year. Started doing all the videos in 2020 and going forward. I did not start the business until October of 2023 because I wanted to use the funds generated to start the business itself. I started the program for Amazon in May of 2023, meaning 60 days later, any money I make would be paid out to me in July. I called and talked to them. They told me about how to do my reporting, and I did that. And it's just crazy because if you go by what they tell you, no matter what, you end up getting screwed because one person tells you one thing, another person tells you another, and then they turn around and tell you something completely different the next time you talk to them. You know. So, it's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because as you heard in the last video from the representative's own mouth, that no matter what, as the business owner, all funds are going to be considered as an asset, even if you do not pay yourself, which is a direct contradiction of the policy. So how in there are we supposed to be able to survive and be able to do things if their policy constantly hinders us to the point to where we cannot be able to survive in either aspect? In the aspect of them giving us a supplemental income and then punishing us for an additional resource that they're not supposed to be counting, and then to turn around and punish you again for trying to better yourself and go about things in the proper way that they tell you to do them, so you can potentially be free from the system. To turn around and say that they screwed up, they overpaid you, you pay them back as you planned on because you had the feeling, like I did, to turn around and get them to pay you back again because yet another representative said that they screwed up. So you get the funds, you go a year, everything's hunky-dory fine. Then you get another notice a few months after the new year stating that, oh hey, you're kind of screwed because now we've overpaid you, but yet again, and now you owe us for the last 2 years, even though we just went through all this crap the year prior. Makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? So now we're back at this catch-22 situation of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So do you close the business, go back to living how you were before starting the business and jumping through all their hoops, or do you continue the business and try to fight to get them to correct their error and potentially lose and still owe them a crap ton of money? Or do you continue the business and give it your all to potentially tell them, hey, don't need you no more anyway because, well, you pushed me to a point to where I had to succeed without any other option possible. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole situation, because I'm sure that I'm not the only one who's dealt with this kind of situation myself. I'm sure that you've probably dealt with something similar in some manner. So feel free to drop those comments down below, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.